Okay, well, wonderful. Thank you, Sophie, for joining us, and thank you very much for your time. I would like to share just a few words before I introduce you. How we met. We've been working for a couple of years and a few years. Actually, almost 7 years ago, we met in Geneva, right? So
Yeah,
7 years
7 years.
ago, we were both pregnant with the first ones.
Yeah, it
And
was November
oh, wow.
because this is when I moved to Geneva.
So more than 7 years.
Yeah,
And we met at the pregnancy classes, right? We were so excited to become mothers.
yeah,
And then we had our second ones, pretty much similar timings. And then you stayed in Geneva. I moved back to England, but originally you are from England, now
yeah.
living in France and going to school and work in Geneva. So we would like to know a little bit about what you do, who you are, and how, for the last couple of years, when you started working with Enrich, some of the programs that you've tried, the workshops, and just to give it, taste or sense for other people what it's like to use Enrich tools and which worked for you the best.
Mm. Well, as you said, I moved to Geneva over 7 years ago, heavily pregnant, and just having left a very good job of an art lecturer. I moved here and stopped and had my family, so I had a little bit of a break. And I really wanted to find something for myself, which is very hard to do when you've got a young family in a foreign country. Well, you're not your place of birth. So you lose a lot of your connections with people. So you make very quick bonds with other women and other men. But women, we connect quite quickly, especially if you're in the same circumstance. So I was a little bit lost for a while. It was amazing at being a mum. I loved it. I enjoy it. But I needed to get back to what I knew, which made me myself again. So I first went on a Kaleidoscope course that you ran, which was amazing. And I still had the little video that I made of myself. And I was in the car because I'm always in the car, always rushing around. And that was my only time I was able to stop, do a little video and post who I was.
Oh, yes, I remember that video. You were in the car, and it was like the first time you were doing the video for Facebook, right? We had a group on Facebook.
Yeah, so we all introduced ourselves. And one of the questions was, what are you looking for? And I think I just made this huge list of, well, I need to find out who I am. I need to have some grounding. I need to have some routine. I need to find something, but I don't know what it is that I need to find. And thinking back to that now, I've come on so far because each day I've used something mentally inside my head now clicks from everything I've learned from the Kaleidoscope and then the enrichment. Because if you follow it properly, which is really simple to do because you just have to open up, be honest, be truthful with yourself, then it opens this huge new world up to yourself. And you improve with your partner, you improve with yourself, your family. So I started to reinvest my time in my artwork again. I started to invest times in believing that I could set a little art class up, and I did that and I felt better. Reacting with my children, understanding them more. And my children now walk around and will say, Mum, but you're really positive. Think about your diamond. This, I haven't told them this. It's just, it passes through.
Interesting.
So the tools, there's so many tools, but I suppose there's a few that stand out for me. So number one, because physically this starts at the top of your head. This is the tapping, which is fantastic. So if you're fearful of something or you're anxious about something, you can use a method that takes you through different processes. So it's about talking to yourself and changing your mindset. It's brilliant. It works with most people, I would say, and it even works with children.
Oh, interesting. So you picked up tapping as one of the tools that worked for you best.
Yeah. And it's about self-confidence, changing your mindset, changing your language to yourself. But I think it was built on also the steps that we did before that, which were, understanding yourself, talking about your language to yourself, how you treat yourself, your health benefits, life benefits, and understanding that it's all a process. So then you're able to use the tapping most successfully, going through the points.
And which areas did you work on when you used tapping? What helped you the most?
Anxieties mostly. So if I was fearful of doing something, like I'd think, if I can't do something, what's the worst that will happen? What will be the best benefit out of it? And actually, why am I scared of it? So you turn your language from a negative into something that you can believe you can do.
Okay, wonderful. So that worked for you. And the girls also felt that mommy is getting more positive and taking time for herself and speaking a different language, more positive words. Wonderful. What else worked for you, and how did you use those tools in your life afterwards?
I think a big one was my relationship with my husband. Understanding that the more open you are, the more giving and welcoming you are to someone else, the more you get back. And this is a huge thing, because I think when we are down or upset or sad, frustrated, we become closed. But actually, by welcoming somebody more, even though you don't feel like it, you get so much back. And that's huge. And it's about using your language, about using words that change what you're asking, because men typically will hear a different phrase that you're actually saying and meaning. They will interpret it different. So it's just using the language. What do you think about that? How can we make this better? What do you want me to do? How can I help this situation? Instead of, well, this isn't working. I don't think we should do this. What do you, how do you feel about that? Those are accusatory to them. Whereas women will say, how do you feel about that? And we go, oh, well, I want to talk all about it. Whereas a man doesn't want to do that. And things like that have really helped.
And if you were to compare, the individual work we did a long time ago, it was like a few years back, then in the Enrich program, Kaleidoscope, could you just give a little bit of a differences, how you apply different tools and what worked for you the most?
So the Kaleidoscope was really nice. It was a really close group on Facebook, and I felt a real sense of community with other people. And it worked, and it was nice to follow. And we're going back a while. I found that the enrichment, because it was a longer period of time, you do a lot more work on yourself. So you have to delve in deeper and spend more time thinking about the exercises and following them, and then actually doing them. So it's a process. It comes naturally. So you can listen to it in the car, think about it, then action it, and then in the evening you reflect on it. You don't need to spend any longer than you normally would. You just fit it in as it works for you. So I found, being able to go from A to B quite quickly is quite hard, like everybody has, but I found a way of fitting it in. I'm trying to think of a defining sort of task between the two that would be different. I definitely think the enrichment was an enhancement of everything I'd already learned. The Kaleidoscope was a really good base, and then when we went into the Enrich, it was really in depth. So kind of like the Kaleidoscope gave me a real taste. I really enjoyed it, and I was like, right, I need more now.
Right.
Enrichment was literally nourished even more.
And also the workshops and the individual work, because some people think, which one do I go for? Is it the one-to-one person, or a group dynamic, or retreat? What you've tried different settings, and I'm very curious, because the way how I describe it is different how you experienced it, and I would love to share that piece with other people who are thinking, shall I work
Yeah.
with my relationship with the coach, or shall I leave it until later when there's a group, or shall I go with one-to-one and that's it? How would you advise?
I think for me, there was a really bizarre sense of being with a group of people that's, I don't know how, and it's a little bit spiritual maybe, we're supporting each other. I felt like we were all together in this experience, that I wasn't alone. And it was like we were all thinking of each other. So I really felt that support, and each dialing call we would have together, there was something really special about it. I didn't feel like I was with strangers, because we would swap advice, we would just talk, we would be really open. It was a safe space. So for me, I really liked the group work. I really enjoyed being part of that group, and being accountable to talk to each other and wanting to help, because that's as beneficial as having the advice yourself. By giving it opens answers up to you, and it's a feel good factor too.
Yes. How did it work for you to be connected from technology, from a mobile, rather than being next to each other? Some people say, well, I don't know if this would work for me, because there's no personal contact, like physical contact. But seems like it worked for you, being away from other people.
That wasn't a barrier at all to me. I don't know if it's because I'm familiar with FaceTime and being in touch with family like that. It doesn't really, it's something I'm used to. And it's not a barrier at all. And it would, yes, it is nice to be next to somebody or in a room with someone. And yes, if you're the sort of person that doesn't get along well with technology, then maybe a group situation, being together is better. But it doesn't stop anything, and it doesn't stop those bonds forming just because you're over the phone or you're writing. But you can't be in a room 24/7 together. Right. So you are like mentally together going through the journey.
And especially for busy moms like you and me, how do we juggle the family priorities, the work, and the learning experience, and being supported by other humans in this journey? Yeah. And talking about the practical effects, so we've already heard you saying that your relationship with girls changed. What else? Like, tell us about your work. How did that change the way how you appeared?
Yeah, it has changed my work, because I started to do work for people through the group, which was really nice. And it was because I understood what they were feeling, it changed what I wanted to produce in my work. I wanted to send a message. I do personalised art anyway, but usually with photographs, dates, memories. But because this was on a journey which I understand their process and the things that they're working on, when I then started working through them, I really had a connection. And it was really a nice moment, a beautiful moment to produce that, and knowing that this was something just for them. That was, and it's very odd, it just comes from somewhere with me, which most artists it does. We don't plan, we don't sort of have an idea already. We start at a point and it goes. And if you have a group understanding of how people are feeling, and you've been on that journey, that's kind of even more increased. So for me, that was amazing. And I did a piece of work for myself as well, which is lovely, which hangs in my room. So it was really did benefit to my work, because it just enhanced my ideas. It kind of got my creativity sparking.
Yes, and there are some pieces of work behind you. Are these some of the work that you've done? Oh, that's beautiful. I can see the butterflies. Yes. I have also a couple of pieces from you, so I really feel this is a special creativity flow, almost like you have, and I feel really proud and humble and thankful to you for joining us and for sharing also bringing your creativity and the best of you out. And a lot of women I know who were in that program, they also benefited from you. So it's kind of a process that works both ways. What you get out,
Yeah.
what you give, and it's a nourishment experience for people. So really thank you, Sophie, for just sharing that, and hopefully we can bring more. And now that we are in the talks of organizing Enrich Circle online, I think it's also something that we could take into the Enrich Circles and having that energy that is nurturing. That's what we're hoping to create. So say a few words about what you would like, and if there was a woman who is thinking, shall I or shall I not, because it's other priorities and I don't have time, and I'm busy, and I just can't find time for me.
But this is the irony of it, which the saying is, if you want something doing, ask a busy person, because they actually get it done. People who are capable of being busy, and we're all busy for different reasons, the group it relieves that, because it stops your brain from the monkey chatter constantly. So it really helps calm everything down and make you more in control of everything. And not in a control in a negative way, control in a really positive, nurturing, nourishing way. So you can work out what you're going to do for the week, the month, the year, and have these conversations with people and be direct about what you want and how you want to do it. It's the biggest thing whenever I speak to anybody about, would you like to try talking about things in a group of people? It really helps. Or, maybe I could give you some of the tips that I've learned. Oh no, I'm too busy for that. I've got so much on, and I've just, I've got too much to do. And actually, it's as important as taking a shower. It's as important as eating. It's putting into the toilet. It's a function. You do these things, but you can make this small amount of time, and it's how much you put into it. And part of it is just allowing your brain to think, absorb, and then practice. And it's so beneficial. So beneficial.
Well, thank you very much. That's just a little connection that we wanted to share, how it is on the other side for someone who has experienced it. And if you consider joining any of our circles or programs or someone else's programs, please remember that these are the nuggets that we also learn, not just individually by working or reading or going and just watching something, but being part of that connection, the program, part of the circle. And it doesn't matter if it's online, if it's through Skype or through Zoom like we're doing now, there is still a connection because we are present. We take that monkey chatter away and we devote our time and effort so that we can be with ourselves, create more time, and allow for our creativity to sort of brew, so we can create more, so we can be more, we can become the better version of ourselves. And again, thank you, Sophie, for
Thank you. It's a very special, safe, supportive place, and I can't recommend it enough. When you wrote me the email a long time ago and said, would you like to be part of this? It really will change your life. I thought, really, what are you? What can you do? Have you got a wand? It all starts inside you. So
it did change your life.
Yeah. It changes how I react to people, how open I am, and that I always view things in a different, more positive way. And little rituals like waking up every morning and having 5 things to be grateful for. It's mental change that makes you feel good about yourself. It's small things that you can do so easily. And as women or men, we can share this.
Wonderful. Well, look forward to continuing that, and have a rest of the day.
Thank you so much.